That's one of the most exciting plays in football, the long pass for the touchdown. It is right out there in the open, where everyone can see and appreciate the science and artistry that are combined in the successful pass play. As in every phase of football, however, success is founded on fundamentals. And in the passing game, they begin with the mechanics of passing. As was shown in the first film of this series, in positioning behind the center, the quarterback assumes a relaxed stance, relaxed position. He uses slightly flexed, his knees are slightly flexed, his feet are on a straight line, spread to about the width of the shoulders. The arms are extended but not rigid, elbows in close to the body, upper part of the body slightly erect. Actually, it is the fundamental football position. As we know, when the center snap is properly executed, the ball will arrive in the quarterback's hands with the laces across the underside of the fingers of the passing hand. After the quarterback has taken the snap and brought the ball to his midsection, he starts his retreat, raising the ball with both hands to shoulder height. He must not turn his back on the line of scrimmage. He retreats instead in a three-quarter turn position as he goes back 9 yards before stepping forward 2 or more yards into the pass pocket. Remember, the quarterback brings the ball immediately to his midsection, and he must get away from the center as quickly as possible. He raises the ball to a shoulder height and uses short, jabbing steps to get back. At the end of that retreat, the quarterback's right foot is the brake against that rear movement, and then he pushes off that foot to come back into the pocket. Observe here the ball brought to the midsection. The retreat in the three-quarter turn position as the ball is elevated with both hands to shoulder height. The step into the pocket and the release. Here is another method of retreat, the straight drop back. Some quarterbacks prefer this method. And here it is in the game. The reason that the quarterback retreats in a three-quarter turn position or straight back is that he must, during the retreat, be scanning downfield. He must be reading the defense and picking out his primary and secondary receivers, and it would be almost impossible for him to turn completely, retreat, and then still have time to do this reading. In a later segment of this series, we will discuss the keys the quarterback uses in analyzing defenses, but he must first practice scanning until it becomes a habit. Here is an excellent example of the importance of scanning during the retreat. The quarterback has read the defense and selected his receiver so that even though he slips in setting up, he can still recover and hit his target. Up to now, we have discussed in the passing game the quarterback's drop either as a three-quarter turn, keeping his eyes on the defense, or a straight drop back with a complete facing of the quarterback into the defense, scanning the defense all the way. There's, of course, many other methods, and one of the other methods is the fake the run, the fake of the run and then the throw, where the quarterback, the backs, and the offensive line simulate run, and, of course, it develops into a pass. For example, this type of action, where the fullback comes in and then fakes into the middle, the halfback comes across, the quarterback steps to the fullback, makes the fake, and then drops back into a passing situation. Now, in order to be effective, he's got to make this look as much like the run as he possibly can. So his action is exactly as it would be on the run. He actually will turn his back to the defense at times. Of course, the linemen also must carry out their simulation of a run. It must be semi-aggressive here. For example, I mean by that they will drive and then retreat, drive and then retreat. What they're trying to do is to make these linebackers play run so that the ends, wingback, YN, and XN will get behind them. So the linebackers really cannot shut off the routes of the YM, which they so effectively do on a straight drop-back pass. We use this usually in a running situation. We fake run. When the whole defense expects run, we fake the run and throw. The easiest thing really to defend against is a pass in a passing situation. Second and long, third and long. The most difficult thing to defend against is a pass in a running situation. Watch here the fake to the fullback, designed to freeze the linebackers just long enough to allow the tight end to get open. Again, observe the quarterback's retreat, back turn, his fake, and release. Here in a play-action pass, the quarterback fakes to the halfback, finds his primary receiver covered, and throws to the back he faked to. We have been discussing the play-action pass in which a run is simulated and a pass develops. Another play in which the quarterback must practice deception is the screen type of pass. This is a situation where the defense expects pass. As a result, as the quarterback drops to his regular passing situation, position, either using a three-quarter turn or a straight drop back, he allows these defensive men to go back, the linebackers in particular, all of these men, they drive off the line of scrimmage, down the field hard, simulating pass all the way, deep pass all the way. The linebackers go back deep to cover their lanes wherever possible. The linemen, they set just like they do on pass. The backs set just like they do on pass. The quarterback comes back to a position 8, 9 yards deep, right to his normal position, looks down the field, allows the people to come in. He wants these men to get back as deep as possible, and then he retreats a little more into a deeper position. Meantime, these people now move out into the flat as blockers with the back following them out, and the quarterback throws a delayed action type of pass out to that flat. This can be done to either side. Here's a successful screen pass. Note how the quarterback sets up as he would after a normal drop back. And another screen, showing what second effort on the part of the receiver can mean. When throwing from the pass pocket, however, the quarterback will learn that the pocket is not always a stable barrier. It will sag and give at one point and expand at another. Therefore, the quarterback must have the quick-footed action to move in any direction. He must be able to feel, in other words, to sense where that pocket will sag or break before it does. Sometimes there is no pocket at all, and there's no disgrace in eating the ball. There are times, however, when a quarterback cannot throw the ball, either because his pass protection breaks down or because all of his receivers are covered. He has a choice now of pulling the ball down and run with it. Of course, if he can. Sometimes all of the running lanes are clogged, and he's forced to eat the ball and take his loss. The other thing he can do, of course, is to throw the ball away, so he will not be caught for a loss. And he must throw it either out of bounds, or he must throw it to an area in which there is no defender. It's never a desperate act, really, but it's a calculated act. And speaking about throwing a ball, let's go out to the practice field now and see how it's actually done. The quarterback's grip and passing when throwing the ball will vary depending upon the size of the hand. Usually there is anywhere from 2 to 3 fingers on the laces of the ball. In this particular case, Bart has 2 fingers across. The index finger is toward the rear of the ball. It actually points at the target when it's thrown. There should be no pressure of the palm on the ball, but rather the pressure should be in the fingers of the throwing hand. Actually, there should be a space in here, as you see now, between the ball and the palm. The quarterback, in passing, as he receives the ball from the center, his first action is to bring the ball either chest high or shoulder high and control it with both hands. In fact, he keeps both hands on the ball until the actual throwing action begins. As he sights his target, the ball is raised above the ear. If you notice, the ball is pointed not toward the target, the point of the ball, but away from it on a 45-degree angle, and the elbow is pointed down. That gives you that spiral action, really, of the ball. And as he throws, he steps over the front foot. In this particular case, with the right-handed passer, it's the left foot. And that left foot is pointed directly at the target. And he throws over that foot just as a baseball player would in throwing a baseball. Now let's look at this again, putting it all together. As the quarterback drops back from the line of scrimmage, he holds the ball in both hands. The fingers of the passing hand are spread. 2 fingers on the laces and the index finger near the tip of the ball. The ball has already been brought up to shoulder height. When he has picked out his receiver, the quarterback brings the ball up directly behind his ear with the elbow pointed almost directly away from his target. The left foot is pointed in the direction he is going to throw. The left arm is out as a stabilizer. The quarterback moves into the throw, releases the ball, and follows through over the forward leg. As a general rule, the ball should be thrown crisply at all times, and no matter what route the receiver is running. This is especially true when a ball is thrown to a receiver who is in front of the defender, or when a defender is behind the receiver. For example, on a route which we might call an acute-in type of route, where the defender gets behind the receiver, or a turn-in, or a sideline type of route, or comeback sideline type of route, where the ball is thrown back to the receiver. Then the ball is thrown on a flat trajectory and thrown crisply and hard, and the ball is usually thrown around chest high. The instruction to the receiver is to always come back to the ball. Then, of course, you have another type of pass, which is the fly route, where the receiver actually runs a fly pattern, a sideline type of pattern, a deep pattern. Now the trajectory of the ball, of course, is a high looping action to keep the ball in the air, really, so that the receiver can run underneath it. In throwing a ball to the post patterns to either side, you got to remember that a right-handed passer, a passer who's throwing with his right hand, the ball is in a clockwise type of action. The ball rotates clockwise. So if I'm throwing from to the right side, the pass thrown to the post to the right side, the ball has a tendency to drift into the receiver. As a result, the quarterback gives this receiver a pretty good lead because he knows the ball will drift back to him. And throwing to the left side on a post pattern, the ball in a clockwise action will drift away from the receiver, so he doesn't lead him as much when he throws to the left. Here's the crisp throw that gets the ball to the receiver running the short route. Now note, on this somewhat longer pass, how the quarterback anticipates the receiver breaking, and the ball is halfway to its target before the receiver has even entered our screen. And on this long pass, observe the trajectory and how again the quarterback leads his man. The product, of course, of much practice. To sum up, on a pass play, the successful delivery of the ball to the receiver is determined before the ball leaves the quarterback's hands. It is dependent upon the correct drop back. As the quarterback scans the field, picks his receiver, sets, points the lead foot, cocks the arm, releases, and follows through. After that, it is up to the receiver. the pass receiver. Ten other men combine all their efforts to get the ball to him. And he must catch it. The catch, however, is the end product. What goes into its production starts once again with a basic fundamental, the receiver's stance. The offensive end and the flanker is first the receiver and then a runner and a blocker. His stance is a sprinter stance. The tail up, the head relaxed, with the rear foot about 18 inches behind the front foot. His head is relaxed and still he can see down the field 6 to 8 yards, preferably looking at the man he is going to run the pattern on. The weight is forward because the player has no need to go to either side, and he drives off the rear foot, straight ahead and on his toes, and always aims at the outside leg of the man covering him. On short and medium passes, the receiver's purpose is to start moving the defensive man back. On the snap signal, he comes off the line of scrimmage at almost full speed to get that covering man to react immediately. The receiver's stride should be natural, and though he may vary his speed to throw the defensive back off, he should never change his stride. What that player has perfected on the practice field here pays off in a game. Observe the quick start and a uniform stride that gets the receiver out there. Of course, getting out there isn't always easy. The receiver must expect to run into rough going on the way, but he must survive and still run his route and make the catch. All of the pass patterns, all of the pass blocking, all of the precision that go into passing are for nothing if the receiver does not catch the ball. The first rule is, once the receiver has made his move and spots the ball, he must never take his eyes off the ball. In other words, he must look it all the way into his hands. He must not be distracted by anything. And in this game action, we see the receiver, even though he knows he's about to be hit, still concentrating on that ball. Here we see a receiver take his eyes off the ball with this result. And he gets hit anyway. Now here's the same receiver against the same opponents on the same play with a different result. When he does keep his eyes on the ball, it's 6 points. Remember, the receiver is going to get hit whether he drops the ball or whether he catches it. Now, what are the techniques in actually catching the ball? To begin with, a receiver must learn to ignore hands that are between the ball and himself, just as a catcher ignores the swing of the bat as he catches the ball behind the plate. The catch itself should always be made with the hands, and the receiver must never depend on his body as a backstop or backboard. The arms and hands must be relaxed, and the receiver must not grab at the ball. When the ball is coming straight at the receiver, at chest height or higher, the catch is made with the thumbs together. When it is coming right at him below the chest, he catches it with the little fingers together. When the receiver is catching a ball that is going away from him, his elbows are together and his hands are held with the small fingers together. Now, if the thumbs are held together when the ball is out to the side, in holding the thumbs together, the receiver's inside arm is raised, therefore blocking his vision so he cannot keep his eye on the ball all the way. This is true to either side, by the way. On passes that are leading the receiver at a distance that will force him to extend himself, the receiver should, whenever possible, run under the ball and not leap for it. A man whose feet leave the ground cannot cover the ground. Another point to make is when the receiver has made his break and the ball is slow in coming to him, he must come back to meet the ball. Otherwise, a defender possibly could move in front of the ball or reach over the receiver to knock the ball down. Here's an example of the receiver coming back to the ball for the catch. Here's a receiver using his body as a shield between the ball and the defender. Naturally, all passes are not going to be thrown perfectly. But the responsibility of the receiver remains the same, to get to that ball and to catch it. Here you see the receiver saving the play. As I have already mentioned, the receiver must school himself to ignore the hands between himself and the ball. And here the value of that is illustrated. Again, note the concentration of the receiver ignoring the hands. Once the receiver catches the ball, he becomes naturally a running back. And we ask of him the same determination, the same second effort that we ask of any running back or anyone. This is the receiver's reward, his payment for all the routes he ran and never saw the ball, for the bruising he took getting out there to run those routes. And now he can turn a game or even a season around. Receivers, of course, are also called upon to block. The tight end, or the Y end, for example, is first a blocker, then a receiver. He must be able to execute those blocks discussed elsewhere in this series, the drive block, the down block, and also fulfill his role in the 2-and-1 block or the pinch block. As I have said, however, the split end or flanker is first a receiver and then a blocker. And he also, however, must be able to execute the crackback block against linebackers and defensive backs. On the crackback, the blocker must get down the line quickly before the linebacker can get penetration. On contact, he puts his head in front of the man at the waist, and he pinches with the outside shoulder and keeps driving. Passing and pass receiving. In the game as we play it, the passer, once he has taken the ball in the center quarterback exchange, has approximately 3.5 seconds, sometimes less than that, to drop back, scan the field, step into the pass pocket, pick his receiver, set himself, and throw. In that small interval of time, the receiver must free himself beyond the line of scrimmage, run his route, break clear, spot the ball, and then catch it. Perfection in this is the product of practice and persistence.